Hello and welcome to Patched. I'm your host Paul James, and in this episode I'm joined by Jay Parnas and Damo Camilleri.
You villain.
Pack of fucking villains.
That is the topic for this week. It's one that Damo suggested. That we are going to be talking about the best, the worst, the indifferent, everywhere in the middle.
Yeah.
Wait, hang
villains
on.
Within
Does worst mean best, or does best mean best?
both. The good, the bad.
Yes.
The good, the bad, and the ugly when it comes to video game villains.
Smithers.
And I guess we will kind of look at it through lenses of a few of our favourites or least favourite. Damn it, what have you done?
No, least is still least. It's worst because bad is.
Shut up. Everywhere on the spectrum.
Oh, great! Now they're on the spectrum. Now you've got them coming after us too. Great. Can you believe that?
Listen to this guy. So we're going to be
right?
talking about the best and worst villains everywhere in the middle.
Apparently,
Damo's topic. Damo, you brought up clearly with a few in mind, so you want to kick us off?
Yeah, sure. So, the thing is, anytime you talk about villains, there's certain villains that will always pop up. And it's, I don't really want to discuss why, because anybody that's played them knows why. Or anybody that's ever looked up villains
Let's just
knows why.
with some big spoiler alert things, just in case.
There's villains that, people are just like, yeah, I know that. You say Sephiroth from Final Fantasy VII.
Who?
Sephiroth. or you turn around. You turn around and you're like, Bowser. Bowser's a fantastic villain, or
Is he?
Hun?
Is he?
Well, he's consistent.
He's got a one-track mind.
That's consistent in what?
Consistent.
That he's great at smash and grabs, but terrible at building a base.
And holding on to a princess.
Yeah, maybe, I don't know, check the plumbing so that the plumber
But
doesn't
he's a
get
villain.
in.
He's a villain that people know.
Sort your shit out, cap your pipes, Bowser, sort your life out, mate.
Or just have all your pipes, just plan out Mushroom Kingdom, put all the pipes directly into lava.
Yeah, just, yeah.
Fucked.
Yeah.
Spend a bit of time with Mario Maker, you'll get it.
Yeah, maybe if you put the fucking
Make your levels in Mario Maker, Bowser, and just wreck shop.
chain chomps in fucking clown cars.
Yeah.
Why haven't you done this yet? Come on, mate. Make the bullet bill launchers mobile. What are we you've already got an Air Force. What the fuck are you doing? Sorry, I'm
No, we're off to a great start. Damo, you got any others that you're a particular fan of? There was one that you were talking about over lunch today.
There's a couple that I'm a huge fan of. I'll start with the one that I didn't bring up, and that would be Kerrigan from StarCraft, Queen of Blades. That was really cool because it starts off as she's a hero, she builds up as a villain, and then she goes super villainy, and then she turns anti-hero, and it's a really cool, she's a very diverse character, but as a villain, whole in whole, brutal. The story, but because you play the game, obviously you're not using her to kill everything. It's not how those games used to work. You used to use your armies, but the story behind it is she pretty much took over half the known galaxy at that stage and fucked everything up for everybody. There were total other races, and it was just the way she was built was phenomenal because it was she had so much charisma. It was almost like she was betraying everybody that loved her, and there's all this stuff that they kind of throw in slices of it.
Yeah.
But it just made her very compelling because sometimes your villain has to be powerful enough to stand their ground. It's just something that you don't want to you don't want a weak pussy villain. You don't want a King Goomba being the Mario villain.
Shot.
It just doesn't make sense because it's that you can jump on that thing twice and it's out for the count. So they had to make it powerful enough to thing, but there's slices of levels, onions,
They got
layers.
They were not references.
But and the other one clearly a big
Go hang myself.
A big one was from Far Cry 3.
Vas.
Thank you for slicing that one in. That's nice. Yeah, he was just psychotic and evil and just brutal and just this really cool, again, with the charisma. I think charisma is a huge thing for villains.
Like, regardless of whether it's film or gaming or TV or
yeah,
whatever it is.
And, you know, like, I like villains. There's two kinds of villains that I really get a kick out of. The villains you love and the villains you love to hate. Like, you know, in gaming, I haven't found many villains I've loved to hate. Like, you know, there's no Joffrey walking around where I'm like cheering for him to die.
Or Dio.
Yeah. Or Dio. Zawildu.
And Enaru. Yeah, he's a fucking love to hate that dude.
Kira. You get to... yeah, it's. I haven't really found one that I love to hate so much in video games, but I think, you know, Vaz, there was this amazing guy to love because, like, he was just...
Can I throw...
so twisty.
Can I throw one at you that I bet you haven't thought of that's probably really high on the list for you?
Yeah.
Atlas. BioShock. So, what's his actual name?
Fontaine?
Fontaine.
Yeah.
Frank Fontaine.
Yeah.
How does he rank on the list?
Oh, he's almost like that Vaz,
Manipulation,
yeah?
all that sort of stuff.
He's the really freaking sweet villain, really cool and everything. The ending with him,
Yeah.
was it like you just kind of...
But how do you pay off on that?
Yeah, I know. It was a
Whereas
hard...
the difference between that is, like, at least you got a full game.
Yeah.
Like, they built that up way more than they built up Vars, I think.
Yeah.
I think they built
Well,
up...
only because they snuffed Vars's torch.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, at least... But that was the thing. Like, I think they were both...
full arc.
They were both on the same scale, but it's like... One was snuffed out early, and then the other one was like, it had been built up so much that it's like, well...
Yeah, it has to actually...
The game does not support the
what
encounter.
you've done with the storytelling.
Yeah.
With the character arc.
Yeah, I just figured I'd throw that at you.
Yeah, no.
Figured
Yeah,
that
definitely totally forgot about that. Like, I mean, yeah, and it's, you know, of course he's like he's not unforgettable. It's just, it's been a while. Like, it's hard to think about.
Yeah,
You know,
no,
like
yeah, man,
villains.
for sure. Absolutely.
Like, you know, like, as much as I love Zone of the Enders, like, I don't think Anubis... I think Anubis the mech is an amazing thing, but I think the guy that I can't remember the guy that pilots him. Like, I have no care for him at all. Like,
I think it's one of those things, though, like, to your villains before, like, it's got to be... They've got to make an impression one way or the other. And they could be a protagonist, antagonist, whatever.
yeah.
And somewhere in the middle, too.
Yeah.
People regularly cite... Wait, have you played The Last of Us? Do you care if I spoil a little bit at the end here? Oh, no, I won't spoil the actual main plot point. But there's the key, the ending to it.
I can still totally hear this is not doing anything.
There's
Fucking just do it. I can't.
Because Vars told him about the definition of insanity and he just went and chopped his arm off.
Yeah. No, it's still...
The
I can still
end
flip
there,
you
like
off.
the big moment at the end there, and then you have to talk to Ali about what had happened and whether you do or don't tell her the truth about what happened. And that, so I'm not spoiling the context around what actually did
I'm going to play
happen.
that again.
But like that decision, and that kind of, for a lot of people, just kind of trawling through the internet after it came out in 2013, really changed people's opinion of Joel depending on the decision you ultimately made there.
Yeah.
Which is still a little bit weird because it's the decision that you made, but that was the character that you'd framed in your head. So you're going, well, my Joel would own up and say something, and I consider that guy to still be a noble, upright, upstanding guy. Whereas no, he's a dick and he did the wrong thing. I'm going to tell you exactly what I did and let's burn the world down. So like,
Yeah.
the way
I lied. I was like, yeah, nothing
Kratos
happened.
is another one of those where he's kind of an anti-hero.
Yeah.
And depending on your take on what he's done, that can shift and shape the way you see him as a character. Are there any other...
Ares wasn't a fantastic villain for the
as in
first...
God of War's Ares.
Yeah. Like, he was the first
As opposed to...
main villain.
The real Greek god.
Just some Spartan just jumps at him and slashes your head off. Like, yeah, no, it was just weird. Like, he...
As opposed to the star sign. Like, fucking what?
Yeah, like, you know, he wasn't... I think he was a good villain, but, like, I like that, like, how, like, there's some villains that are just... Yeah, you just don't even think about them. There's the villains that you kind of like, they're there and you know them, but like they don't shine. And then there's that what makes a good villain great to love or hate.
Yeah.
Like I think a villain that you hate, that's the perfect villain.
Or what about
It's like
David in The Last of Us? David? You know, the one that everyone tends to hate. Sorry to keep cycling back to The Last of Us, the bit with Ellie and in the building, you're being chased around. Was it David?
I don't know.
Everyone hates him.
Yeah.
Clearly made an impression because I've forgotten his name.
Yeah.
David sounds right though.
Yeah, no, there's a lot that goes on in that game, so it's hard to not like. It's hard to sit there and hold on to every bit that happened in that.
Do you have any particular characters that really have struck you over the journey? Good, bad, or otherwise? And if you don't mention one in particular, I'm going to jump in with it.
Is that Handsome Jack?
Yeah, good. The
Handsome
best.
Jack.
The best. But that's a totally different lens as well. Like we've spoken about characters we love or love to hate, and then he's there as a villain, but comedic relief. Well, not that the game's lacking in comedy, but
I would argue that he's more of an anti-hero.
He would argue that. Or you would argue that?
Actually, he's almost one of those guys I love to hate. Like,
I love him.
He was like,
adore him.
He was such a cuck. Like,
and have you
actually, he was the opposite of a cuck.
And have you played Tales of the Borderlands?
No.
Oh,
haven't.
He's perhaps a notch higher in terms of the comedy.
Well, I mean, but the lore that they've added with the pre-sequel turns him into he's an anti-hero. He's not a villain.
Yeah.
So it's.
But also, most people don't consider the pre-sequel to be particularly good.
No, but
like you.
Well, no.
So the less we can think about.
Again, when I played it,
Thanks
it was a buggy mess. So when I
you reviewed it for whoever we were with at the time.
That was our own thing. We were doing.
Was that then?
Yeah. Fucking villains, eh?
Sigma?
Nah, Sigma's a little bit one-dimensional. He's very much just a cliche.
Just something to give a game.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
It's pretty much like in the same way as with Mega Man Classic. Like even if they set up a premise where it's like, hey, it's not Wily, this other fucking dude. It's always Wily. Like, don't even worry about it. It's always like it's. And it's the same. It's the same with fucking Mega Man X. So it's not really for that. Maybe Bison from Street Fighter. He's a pretty fucking good villain.
He's a fucking solid.
Yeah, he's a pretty.
Is it Psycho Cutter?
Psycho Crusher.
Yeah, Psycho Crusher.
Psycho Crusher. Yeah.
When you've been big in Metal Gear lately, is there anyone from that really?
I mean,
strikes you?
Liquid's pretty cool, I guess. But they've kind of got so many different.
Yeah, it's hard to.
Yeah, because Metal Gear kind of.
Is it like? Would you classify them all as villains, or are they just enemies? Like, is it?
It's kind of one boss per game. Like it's bad guy per game. It's not.
Do you want me to do that for that one?
I think we'll be alright. Yeah. Just the lighting on realism is terrible.
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, no, I don't think that's probably. Fuck, man. How about you keep going and I'll have.
I spoke about Kefka at lunchtime. So from Final Fantasy VI, Final Fantasy is about, oh no, the world's gonna be destroyed. Let's try and save it, and Kefka succeeds. Spoilers.
What?
Yeah, the world's gone. It's totaled, and that's only part of the way, like maybe halfway through it. But you think that this is the ultimate encounter, and blah blah blah. This is gonna be it, and he beats you, and that's it. It's over.
So how involved does a bad guy have to be? Like, for example,
they don't. They could be the sort that's just pulling the strings in the background. What if it's
not even that? Like, think who would you class is the villain in Chrono Trigger?
Lavos, whatever you want.
Or is it that other evil
Magus.
wizard? Yeah.
No, because he even joins your party.
He does.
Well,
pretty close to the end.
Path you go through, but.
Yeah, but do you see what I mean? Because, is Lavos even really present, except for the end of days?
I mean, he's always this looming threat. He's all fairly regularly referred to.
But doesn't he only he just appears and then just does his business and that's it? Do you see what I mean?
Well, he only just appears because it's like an inevitability in time. Like it's going to happen. So in
But
every
you
other,
see-
in
but you
every
see
other
what I mean?
timeline,
He's-
or every other time you go to, he obviously hasn't existed yet. It hasn't become a thing.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like but he's not a constant through the story. Like if you compare him
Yeah.
to say Handsome Jack, for example,
Who's
Handsome
always
Ja-
there.
Yeah, he's like always there doing bad shit. Has done bad shit in the past.
hilarious.
If you don't fuck him over, he will continue to do bad shit in the future. Whereas this thing is just at this point of time, bad shit happens and you have to stop it. Like it's not actually your motivation for the story is to do something at a certain time. It's not actually to like consistently thwart a villain's attempts to do bad shit. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like in the same way, like all of these other villains that we've mentioned are
Looming constant.
well, no, they're just constantly doing bad stuff, and you as a hero are trying to subvert all of those
Yeah.
things. Whereas in Chrono Trigger, it's not really that, and that's why I wanted to say the comparison between one
No, I
versus
mean it's
the
an
other.
interesting perspective to look
Yeah.
at these things through.
Because at the end of the day, like I would argue that Bowser is the same.
Ganon, we've not spoken about.
Ganon is another one, but Ganon's another one where it's like
It's like your Mega Man. Thing.
He-
I mean, it's not technically.
it's not technically.
always bloody Ganon.
Sometimes it's Vardy.
Oh,
Vardy's alright.
That
Minish
is
Cap's
cool.
pretty good.
Minish Cap.
But other types of Twin Rover, who is in turn Ganon for the most
there we
part.
go.
But look, the point that I'm trying to make is like, because if you think about Ganon, it's Ganon's minions. It's Bowser's minions.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
even with Lavos, it's not Lavos's minions. It's just
Him.
other.
When the
Yeah,
time
it's
comes.
just exactly. But only when the time comes. He's not ever present. If that makes
Yeah.
sense. It's just the threat.
I
is
mean,
ever present.
that's a framework because of the time.
Yeah, absolutely. But I'm just saying, like, it's interesting that you can still class them as villains and not an obstacle. Does that make
Yeah.
sense? Or do they get classed? Would you class Lavos as a villain or an obstacle?
An obstacle.
Well, there you go. There's a villain. So then Chrono Trigger has
Yeah,
no...
you raised him. What the hell's
Well, that's... No, I asked... No, I raised the game. All I said was, who is the villain in Chrono Trigger?
Yeah, true.
clearly Chrono.
Yeah, clearly. Trying to make time
He's
continue.
fucking jumping through time, like
Luke
as
is
if
the
that's
facilitator.
not
She's the-
fucking.
Yeah, well...
Yeah, the real villain. The real villain are the people that haven't played that game.
And it's Frog.
Frog's the real hero.
He is the champion.
Hero of heroes, man.
Yeah. Yeah, you were saying about Final Fantasy?
Oh, like he's one that has really always struck me because of the fact that he succeeded.
I love when a villain succeeds. Like there's this little part of me that's just like, yes, suck shit. Like, you know, because you see them lose so often because of dumb things like,
Yeah.
oh, there goes the hero, we're going to leave him behind and walk away, and nothing could possibly
Possibly go
happen
wrong, man.
as a
Of course
fly just flies into their fucking, like, their lock, and it goes, oh, and it fucking unlocks their cuffs or some bullshit.
Yeah.
Like, it's just like, what? How much US Machina is there? Like,
Yeah, it's a little, yeah. A competent villain is always the most engaging for me.
Yeah.
Whether it's stuff like that or whether it's stuff like them just having like a well thought out plan where it's not just like I win because I win until the game says otherwise. Like I like where it's like the things that you do further their plan and then you find out and feel like a complete fucker.
For falling into it.
Yeah. I would say probably Samuel Hayden from Doom is a pretty good villain.
Oh, yeah, right.
You ever played Doom?
I need to play it. I played it. I started
the
it.
new Doom,
It's-
you talking
yeah, it's just been sitting there.
Fuck, dude.
I know.
Doom's so fucking good.
I know.
How many times on these
I know.
fucking videos have I said Doom
Weekly.
is such a fucking
And I
good
keep
game?
saying I'm gonna get to it, but then Monster Hunter came along and
It's
it
true.
injected me with its ecstasy. So
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, I don't know. Like I think one of the three lieutenants in Yakuza 0 is an extremely memorable villain. Fucking Kuze.
I mean,
is
you're
his
talking
name.
to the viewers here.
Yeah,
that's what- 'cause-
yeah. He's basically like a rabid dog at you. Like, he will like constantly try and just smash the shit out of you, like single-mindedly, and he doesn't care about what happens to him in the process. He will just try and just fucking beat you into the ground.
I mean, those
death.
sort of villains as well, the cool ones, like, I just don't care about anything else. This is my goal. I'm going for.
Yeah, like he even says to you at one point that he doesn't he doesn't care about like shady tricks or anything to try and increase his position. He's just like, where I am, like, it doesn't matter. I will keep if I am knocked down, I will keep getting up, and I will and that will be what means I will outlast. Oh, excuse me.
Are there any particularly bad examples that?
Bad examples of a villain?
There are obviously plenty, but like, are there
King
any that
DDD.
really? Are there any that really strike you and have always
Really bad villains?
I also thought like that was a waste opportunity. Like all the pieces were
Vast,
here,
I would say, is a waste of opportunity.
Vast is a brilliant villain, but yeah, it was like his story was
Wasted opportunity. Yeah.
They snuffed that way too quick.
But also the sort of thing where like all the other pieces are here in place, and then you gave me this villain, and it just doesn't work. I regularly think, despite, and we know my love of the Uncharted games, but almost every villain in those is the throwaway sort of one that just.
Yeah, right.
I've got all my goons, and I'm just going to keep sending them out, wave after wave after wave, and I'll rock up at the end, and I think that's kind of coupled in with the fact that the boss fights are pretty ordinary for them as well. Specifically 1 through 3. 4, they really took on board a lot of the feedback that they'd been receiving about those entries, and it was a lot better. But like you get a few of those where it's just like I'm the puppet master pulling the strings, but it's just like you're just sending out hired goons here. This is.
See, I think Bowser's
Come and face me.
in that. I'm sorry, I like he's not a very good villain. He's a good character. I don't think he's a very good villain.
Well, no, we know he's not.
Yeah,
he's failure after failure after failure over 3 decades.
I like when he's in like Paper Mario games, for example, where he's trying to do business, but ends up like shit not going his way, and then ends up either lending a hand or
there's something else going on anyway. That's
like he's being out-villained, and he doesn't like that, so he's like, fine, fuck you, I'll protagonist then if I have to. Like, I think that stuff's probably when he's... Yeah. I think that stuff's when he's sort of the best. I don't think Dr. Eggman is a very good villain, especially in a lot of the shitty Sonics that they've got out there.
Because most of the Sonics themselves aren't very good.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'll give you that. Eggman's just someone that...
Do you have any particularly bad ones that strike you, Damo?
Trying to think, actually. Like, I thought I had one before. Like, I thought about it. I was like, oh, yeah, that was a pretty bad villain. Quake. The main boss at the end of, like, the first chapter of Quake or something. It was like a wasted opportunity. Like, the thing rocks up and you're like, woo, final boss. Like, woo, this is going to be your house. And it's just like, you can't even hurt it. You've just got to, like, stand on 4 platforms and, then you electrocute it and it dies. And it was like it was a rush thing for the time and things like that. You can clearly see because it's the only one that rocked up. I'm pretty sure it's the only one that rocks up. And then at the end of all the chapters of Quake, there's like a final boss where you tell the spawn killed the thing. But yeah, it was just really cool, and it had really cool concept going on in Quake and things. And then it just kind of went like nope, like when you got Doom on the Polar. The same kind
Doom,
of
they nailed
thing,
it.
and they have Cyber Demon and Spider Demon like floating around as like big bad villains, and you're like, whoo, God, that's scary. That is like creepy
the
looking.
escalation.
Yeah,
is the key.
For sure.
Yeah, I mean, I still say I can't think of a forgettable villain right now, but I'm just gonna say like Psycho Mantis from like
Metal Gear.
Yeah, Metal Gear. Like
I know enough.
There was a
I've not played
real classic. Kind of. Boss fight, but then again, I think that's more of an obstacle.
And it's more of a mechanics thing. Like, that's engaging because of the tech that they use to make it interesting.
Oh, yeah. But he was just a cool character, too. Like, he was, like, my favourite out of... Or I can't remember what they call them. Whatever they were. But Ocelot, too. Like, he was...
They were Fox team, weren't they?
Yeah.
They were the Renegade Fox team, weren't they?
Yeah. But I can't remember the name they ended up
giving him.
Banjo-Kazooie's Gruntilda.
is not bad.
Yeah, so she's not bad. Like,
She's not bad.
In the same sort of fashion that Handsome Jack is not nearly as funny, but it's kind of...
Oh, in the first game, she's pretty funny.
Yeah, I mean, but I look at it through a 29-year-old lens now, and I'm like, oh...
I don't know.
It's funny.
Some of those rhymes are pretty fucking good.
There's a few of them that are really good, but there's a few that fall flat. But I mean,
rhyming's hard,
and that's comedy for you too.
Yeah, true.
But all in all, yeah, good villain. I mean, I'm at this point where I'm skimming around. There's a couple of posts. See someone jumps out. I saw a banjo. I'm like,
that's a good villain. Was like Giovanni or your Pokemon.
I was thinking that. Yeah.
Your Pokemon rival.
oh yeah,
Like he.
Gary.
Well, throughout the series, there's always
Whatever you want to
You
call
mean
him.
shithead?
ass butt.
But then they only gave you 7 characters, so head was HED.
Yeah.
Douche.
Yeah.
He's kind of cool. Like, you know, I like enemies that, you know, continue to confront you time and time again.
Yeah.
To get like that little bit stronger each time. Like Demon Crest. Can't remember what he was called.
Old Video Games Club game.
Yeah, that was an old one. And like, you know, that villain, every time you encountered him, that had something a little bit more onto him.
Yeah.
Something that's always trying.
He was like the your character, basically. He was like the one that was always trying to shit on you, and you're like, nah, and killed him. With the anti-firebrand. I can't remember his name.
I'm struggling.
You got a real dodgy one for us, Jay? Because I can keep talking about good ones in the meantime.
I mean, go for it.
I'm just thinking about, like, I saw the Ratchet and Clank and Spyro poster, and I just think Insomniac doesn't really create bad villains. They've really consistently nailed it. From Ratchet and Clank to Spyro to Resistance, Fizzy in Sunset Overdrive.
Though he's not
see what
really.
happens. We'll see what happens when it comes to Spider-Man. Because they are trying to tell a more serious tale.
Yeah, that's the thing. I'm having a lot of trouble sort of avoiding stuff that is recreated in video games that's actually like a movie villain or a comic book villain or something like that. Because, I mean, like the Joker from a lot of the Arkham games is probably really good.
Oh, yeah, that's the one I was actually...
Like stuff
Arkham,
stuff like that is...
The Arkham Knight, like... Yeah. How they you know, they were like, it's a brand new character and it's this and this and this, and then it's like anyone that played it 5 minutes in was like, okay, yeah, cool, it's the Red Hood. Oh, it's not. They even like throw you a red herring and it's just like, I'm Jason Todd. It's like, yeah, cool. You didn't fucking see that coming. Like, it just
I didn't have the attachment to like the. I like Batman stories, but I don't know nearly enough of it that was a surprise to me. Well, not a surprise. I knew it clearly wasn't just. I knew it was clearly an established character. Yeah. But I had no idea who the hell we were talking about.
I mean, it
meant nothing to me.
It just kind of like, you know, something like that just falls flat. If you're going to paint something and say it's a fresh character that hasn't been in the game yet,
it better be a fresh character.
Yeah, make it something cool. Like, don't
be someone else in a mask. Because people will see through it.
Let's check out these games here.
I've got to say that I'm a big fan of, and I know you're not a big fan of the franchise, but Infamous and Kessler from the first Infamous game.
Oh yeah,
but it was like
those
future. Games. Well, you didn't even play. Like you weren't a fan. You were.
I played the first one
in the prototype camp versus the Infamous.
Nah, they were both kind of shitty in my opinion.
But Kessler was like future you.
Oh, that's cool. I like that as a villain idea.
Back and he was trying to shape things to make sure, like he had positive intent because it was to make sure that you, Cole, were ready for what was to come next.
Yeah.
But everything he put out there was like it appeared evil right up until the very, very end.
Yeah.
And I thought that was fantastic the way they did that and delivered his story.
Finally found a villain that I love to hate.
Here we go.
Fucking Rainbow Road. Fuck that fucking track. Fuck Rainbow Road.
Rainbow Road's sick. I like Rainbow Road.
No, the Super Nintendo version of Rainbow Road.
Oh yeah, it's a fuck up.
Yeah, that's just the worst.
Oh yeah, the sudden universal agreement.
The 64 one though, fucking jump at the start.
What separates the boys from the men?
Yeah, that's it. Show you got some stones, jump at the start.
Oh. No, but it's kind of hard. Like, I bet you, like, as soon as we stop recording, he's gonna be like, "Oh, that guy's shit. Oh, that was."
Well, we're hoping that you guys on the other end here are in the comments punching in as many as you can.
Like, I think Sigma is not a great villain purely because he's so one-track minded.
Yeah.
Maybe Wesker from Resident Evil, like some of those early games. He's kind of an okay villain, but he's very cliche.
Yeah.
Same with Sadler from number 4.
Symptom of the times a little bit back then.
I guess.
Storytelling's really come a long way in the last
Yeah,
decade,
true.
I'd say. Everyone else
True.
was very kind of tropey and tried and true, and because it was a formula that worked, it was why we had so many mascot platformers for a while there, and all the villain stories were the same.
Yeah.
They were all a rip on what Bowser was doing.
People
In
of
some way,
Pandora,
just like very
this
different.
is Handsome Jack, your hero.
And that was just a rip.
We all know that ever since I took over your armpit of a planet, Pandora has been at peace. Until these pathetic vault hunters showed up, that is.
Comrade Inky or whatever.
A grizzled commander who can control the battlefield with his turret. The rage-filled Gunzerker. When a single gun feels good enough. A siren, mystical and deadly, harnessing the powers of all 4 elements. And this assassin thing. I don't know what his deal is. Alright, that was actually kind of cool. You know, you idiots are so pathetic. Do you have any idea how much firepower you're gonna need to take me down? A lot. A whole goddamn lot. Okay, that's a lot of guns. But sorry, kiddos, you really got no chance. 'Cause I've got a few tricks up my sleeve that I wouldn't want to spoil the surprise. Suffice it to say, Vault Hunters, I'm gonna kill you. You want to prove me wrong? You want to stop the greatness that is Handsome Jack? Well, come and get me.
That I just didn't
Good, bad, or otherwise.
just didn't enjoy is
There's so many different ways we could look at
Final
this.
Fantasy 12. I think that was the one that wasn't online.
That
That
was
was,
the
the last
PS2,
PS2
yeah,
one.
last PS2 one
Yeah,
was the online.
didn't love the villains in that. Like it just kind of was like,
That's with the judges and all that.
yeah, like it's been out for long enough that you've probably played it by
Statute
now.
of limitations. So.
And you sit there and you're like, oh yeah, like
You are thinking
your
about the right
brother. Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, like that guy's brother is one of them. Like but like just the whole overarching villain of the whole thing is just. I don't know. It
Well,
just
it
felt
was a bit different because
it
that was
just
almost like they were armies fighting,
Yeah, it was a very political kind of game, and I don't know. It
which
just
put a
didn't
lot of people
feel
off it.
Yeah, it just
back when it first came out.
have a real massive like molto bueno.
You got what you were looking for?
Yeah, Fleming from Shadows of the Damned is a really, really good villain.
That's the Suda game.
Yeah.
Shinji
Suda Shinji Mikami game, yeah. He's really good because he's the Lord of Hell at the time, and he just does not give a fuck about you at all. He just does what he pleases, I'm gonna be honest. A lot of that game is dick jokes, but all of most of the jokes that come from him is you are lesser than I am, so they end up being like, I have a bigger dick than you, basically. The jokes
good.
are, or it's like you can't get it up, that type of sort of joke. But just the way that he carries himself, I think, is a really good. He's got villain swagger, I guess, sort of in the same way that Handsome Jack kind of has it. Not necessarily in the same kind of comedy where it's because a lot of the Handsome Jack comedy is verbal slapstick, where it's it's setups and actual punchlines. Whereas this dude is more wordplay instead of setting a specific scene, but it's the same sort of swagger of you're so insignificant to for example, Handsome Jack at the start of that game is if you could just kill yourself, that'd really make my day. Yeah, that'd make my day really easy.
Game budget.
Yeah, exactly.
It just ends.
So whereas this dude's come if you want, but you ain't gonna do much about what I'm doing. So, I think he's also a pretty fun villain.
Sweet. I mean, I'll wrap up. Not necessarily saying good or bad here, because in many ways this character's kind of bad. Pagan Min from Far Cry 4, which is in many ways very much like Vas. But I love the way Ubisoft allowed you the opportunity to just kill him at the beginning. So at the beginning, you kind of had that little dinner party with him. You already know he's a bad dude at this point. You just, I'll be back. Just stay there. And everyone, like, typically to play the game, you get up and you leave. Like, you take the opportunity to bolt and get away from him. If you stay there, you end up killing him right on the spot. And like,
I'm pretty sure. No, doesn't he just take you in a helicopter ride? I know the game ends.
No, you go on the helicopter ride that gets you there. I think.
I'm pretty sure.
Because then if you stick around, you kill him.
Do you?
Yeah.
I'm not sure if that's
like no, that's because the game can wrap up, start and finish in 10 minutes if you.
Yeah, no, I've seen that because you have to wait for like 7 minutes.
Speedrunner's dream.
Yeah. I can't remember if there was a trophy for that. If there is, no, I platinumed it. So anyway. So
The real villain is Paul and his trophy collection.
That's true.
mine's not even that great. Anyway, that wraps up an episode of Patched. I think a good one. I think we had lots of different ways that we looked at this whole topic overall. So thank you, Damo, for coming up with it.
Yeah, look, all I would say is just make more interesting villains. Like, don't just make them like make them a foil for the main character to like have interesting dialogue
exchange,
with.
yeah.
Make them competent. Make them win. Don't make them win. Whichever. Just make them competent.
Yeah.
But also,
Don't make them cowardly either. I don't like that. Like, when they're like, oh, I'm losing, I'm
just
fucking
hide
off now.
behind
Haha.
yeah.
Like, make them
That's one of those tropes that we were talking about before.
Yeah, but make him like strong enough that they're like, pfft, they beat
Yeah,
the crap
make-
out of him and they're like, you're not even worth my time. Here's some pissy minion.
Yeah, and that's the other thing. Like, make them competent, make them capable, and make them like an interesting foil for your protagonist, because that'll help you write the protagonist. Like, I don't like one-note villains of just like, I am evil and I'm doing evil things and I have evil power, and if you finally get to me, you will see my evil power and probably best my evil power because video games.
Yeah.
Like, that's. And you will never see me again. Only my minions between here and there. Fucking what?
Yeah.
No, man.
That's old tropey stuff. And look, it's going to exist.
Yeah, of course.
There's a place for that stuff, but
course
we
it
are
will.
getting more of these meaningful stories that mean we're getting better protagonists and antagonists, and
Yeah,
I think that's good for everyone, I guess, at the end of the day. I mean, Red Dead, spoilers. Like the whole culmination of that thing with John Marston, that's not one individual, that's like an entity that is essentially the villain that leads to what happens. And dead. So that wraps up the episode. Again, thanks, Damo. I think it was a good one. If you've enjoyed this, please make sure to like, share, and subscribe. All those buttons are down below. That allows you access to weekly episodes of Patch, the Video Games Club, The Insider, Player 2 Plays, trailers, and a whole bunch more.
all that shit.
All of it. We're growing nice and quickly at the moment, so please jump on and give it a look. Written content. Make sure to visit the website, player2.net.au, where you can catch up with reviews, previews, opinion pieces, news, features, the Player 2 Writers Draft. There's heaps more. I don't know what they're doing, but we'll persist anyway.
I don't know what I'm doing either.
Some of the best talent in Australia is contributing there, so please make sure to go and check it out.
Also, Paul's contributing.
And me as well. And then Twitter, you can find me at Paul James P2, Damo at Tacos Talks. Jay doesn't do Twitter. The website at Player2AU on Twitter.
Twitter does, Joe.
Yeah.
Oi.
And until next time, thank you very much for watching. We'll see you later.
Twitter hasn't got the stones to take.